Hello, everyone. This is Chris and Irish Tommy here for the post-match review. After West Ham go down at Sheffield 1-0. Obviously, the first big story coming from this match is the re-aggravation of the injury to Fabianski. Don't know what we're going to do now, especially after the shocker that Martin had there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that was just horrible to watch. I know West Ham fans all over the world, wherever they were watching, when we saw him go down, we just had our head in our hands. I mean, just no, not this, not this. And you could see he was holding exactly the same groin area that he had been when he first injured it at Bournemouth. And it was obviously a relapse of that injury. And once again, it calls into question what goes on behind the scenes as regards our medical facilities and our medical staff, because we had the same problem with Antonio keeps breaking down. Lanzini came back from a long injury. He broke down again. I mean, there's something definitely not right there. And like you say, the worry now is David Martin came in. He's only just back from that very same muscle injury in the groin area. So if he breaks down, we're back to Roberto in goal, which nobody wants. And just for the cherry on top is that we're looking at bringing in Randolph back to the club, and he can't pass the medical because he's injured. And now we're going to give him a second one to make sure that it doesn't require surgery. And supposedly, if it doesn't require surgery, we're just going to sign him anyway. It's really farcical at this point.
Yep. Yeah, he's been out for 2 months, and we think that he is going to be the solution to our problems. And we'll get. I know we'll get to Lanzini here in a bit, but that he has not been the same since the injury. Today he was. I know a lot of people were on Twitter asking why he was starting over Fornals. Yeah, I was under my honest opinion on that was, they're just trying to build his confidence, get him some get him some game time, because Fornals is obviously excelling at the moment. Let him be an impact sub if need be, but let Lanzini try and get some game time in. But he's not up to it. Why he doesn't deserve another contract, let alone 100 million or 100 million, 100K a week contract makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, he looks a completely different player since he's come back from those two major injuries. Before that happened, I mean, he was playing really well. He looked a real player. There was talk that Liverpool were looking at him.
Even Juventus.
Even Juventus. Some big clubs were looking at him. When Liverpool lost Coutinho to Barcelona, there was talk that they were looking at Lanzini as a replacement. He got called up to the Argentina squad. He
for the World Cup.
Forced his way into Argentina's starting 11 ahead of the World Cup, and it was fully expected that he would start in Argentina's first game in that World Cup. And then obviously he picked up that really major injury the day before he was to make his bow for Argentina at the World Cup. Horrible timing, horrible for him. But he came back and he was very rusty for a little while. But then towards the end of that season, his form picked up in those last few games, and you start to think, right, yeah, he's getting back. Form is coming back. His match sharpness, match fitness. And then, of course, he got another bad injury, and he just has not been the same player since. And it seems to me that but as regards him starting tonight, I thought that was a strange decision. I thought it was an unnecessary gamble from David Moyes, considering Fornals has been one of our most consistently performing players this season. The last few games, he's been really good, even when our form was really bad. I mean, we're losing games and not playing well. Fornals was the one kind of bright spark where we thought, yeah, he's really settling in now. He's starting to look like a player. He's getting the odd goal. He's getting assists. He's getting on the ball. And then you, for reasons unknown, decide to bench him for a player who's been a passenger all season. And unfortunately, it backfired on Moyes because, as far as I could tell, Lanzini was a passenger again this evening.
I wholeheartedly agree. Like I said, I thought it was just simply to try and build up his confidence, let him try and get back to his game. But I don't think he has it in his locker anymore. I don't think he's up for it. He's not strong enough. The only other thing I can guess on, obviously, is for pace. I think he's supposed to be pacier than Fornals, but he didn't look it tonight. He is a
little quicker. Yeah, he is a little quicker. But look, I mean, quickness is fine. You know, you like to have some pace in your team, but man, ultimately it comes down to form. I mean, you need form players in the team. You know, pace won't win you a game if there's nothing to go with the pace. You know, so you know, I mean, it's not like he wasn't trying. You can see him; he was nipping about and he was trying to get on the ball, but he just can't make anything happen anymore. You know, and I think we've gone beyond the point this season now where it's a question of he just needs games, just needs a bit more match sharpness, a bit more match fitness. We're beyond that point now.
Yeah, we're beyond the halfway point, and the only reason I could see it is still with it being Moyes' third match in charge, so he's trying to help him out. But for me, with regards to Moyes, I still felt like in that match I was watching Pellegrini behind as manager. Snodgrass, granted, I was not a fan of the substitution at first. He played when he came in, he played terrifically. Like he did what he was asked to do. He put in beautiful balls, which just Allaire couldn't figure it out. But bringing on Fornals in the 84th minute, that's about 40 minutes too late. Fornals should have been on it after halftime. So
yeah, 100%. And there was a lot of tweets on Twitter, if you watch it, to that effect. I mean, I tweeted at halftime, you've got to get Fornals on there. I mean, I tweeted before the game, like, that it was bizarre that he would drop him at all. But to wait so long to bring him on was really bizarre. Now, look, there may be something we don't know. Maybe he wasn't 100% for some reason.
And that's what that was my other suspicion.
Yeah, I mean, if he's fully fit, I mean, I can't understand it. But yeah, I agree with you in relation to what you're saying. It looked more Pellegrini-esque tonight. We looked disjointed. You know, we didn't look. Now, maybe it has something to do with him changing the formation to the wing backs and 3 centre backs and what have you. But maybe they just need more time with that formation. But it was disjointed. You know, it didn't look like they really kind of knew what they were doing with each other in that formation. We couldn't really string passes together. I couldn't really see any rhyme or reason to what we were doing.
No.
It seemed to be more of that Pellegrini style, kind of, we'll just make this up as we go. That's how it looked when you were watching it. And like I say, maybe it's just the formation. They need time to get used to it. But unfortunately, you know, one thing we just don't have right now is time.
No.
We need points.
Yeah. We're desperately running out of time. And I think that with the whole time thing, it's important to remember, too, we're a third of the way through this January transfer window already, and we have done nothing. There's rumors flying here, rumors flying there, and it's just still nothing. But with this match as well, what it honestly looked like to me, like a complete reversal of the Gillingham game. We had a decent first half, and we could have kicked on. Even after the Fabianski injury, it looked like everyone kept their composure, kept their confidence, and kept pushing. The second half, Martin makes that one mistake, like the most crucial mistake of the entire match, leading to the goal, and it looked like we were just chickens with our heads cut off the entire time. We couldn't get the ball out of our own half. We couldn't make a clearance. We struggled tremendously that second half.
Yeah, that goal definitely rattled us. And it took the players a while to kind of settle back down again. So I'm just looking at some of the comments here. And I thought the first half, I thought both teams were quite poor. I thought, you know, there was endeavour there. I thought both teams were trying to attack and get forward, but they weren't really causing too many problems to the defence. I thought both defences held up really well first half. we did create that one great chance for Anderson. And I can't believe he put that wide, didn't even get it on target. It was a great opportunity in a game where there were few and far between. It's a pity he didn't put that away, because you'd expect him to finish that, really. But the first half, I didn't think either team were very good, frankly. But the second half,
it was very even.
Yeah, it was very even. They didn't trouble us too much either. They had the odd kind of moment where we had a little bit of a scare, but Martin didn't have or Fabianski and Martin didn't have a whole lot to do. But the second half, Sheffield United definitely were the better team. There's no question about that. They kind of upped their intensity and they committed more forward and really started to cause us problems. It felt like a goal was coming. Now, I didn't expect it to come in the Benny Hill fashion that it did. So that's really unfortunate. It was a horrible mistake, but it just seems to be the way of us now, doesn't it? It's just errors.
I think the biggest storyline from this game will be mistakes and missed opportunities. Allaire had 3 perfect chances from those free kicks from Snodgrass. Anderson had the sitter that he missed. Lanzini had the brilliant free kick saved. That's the only thing Lanzini offered, was that one singular shot. And then obviously the Rice handball.
Yeah, that was a joke. Listen, I know people are going about VAR. This is about the rule.
Yeah, no, right? I agree.
VAR did actually enforce the rule as it stands. The VAR people had no option. They had to disallow it. The problem is the rule. It's a ridiculous rule. It's a completely unintentional handball where the opponent actually headed the ball point blank range onto Declan Rice's hand. He could do absolutely nothing about that. And to chalk a goal off for something he could do nothing about is ridiculous. Now, I know in the US you're watching a different channel, but it was on Sky on this side of the pond, and Jamie Carragher was the co-commentator, and he went off on a rant after that goal was disallowed and said it was an absolute joke that goals are being disallowed for stuff like that. They've got to take a look at that rule and change it, because to punish someone for something they could do nothing whatsoever about is unfair.
Yeah, on NBC Sports Network, even here, I forget which commentator it was, but they were even talking about it, how the rule needs to be readdressed. And it just seems like it's constantly us that we're the ones getting screwed. That's the second goal this season that's been disallowed for the same rule for us. And
the Antonio goal, yeah.
Yeah, and this one would have been the one that secured us a pretty vital point, pretty big point.
Yeah.
But I want to go to something that I saw on Twitter as well afterwards. I forget who said it. It was one of the Sky pundits, but they said that even Declan Rice was saying it would have been a good point for us. We're West Ham. They're just promoted, and we're talking about it would have been a good point. Why? Like, there is a mentality problem with this club.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's lack of ambition comes right from the top, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's no ambition there really from the owners. So, I think the players, it filters down. It always does. You set the tempo at the top. You set your goals, your aims, your targets right from the very top. And frankly, David Sullivan, I think, will be absolutely happy if we survive the season and are in the Premier League again next season.
Yeah,
because he keeps getting this TV money.
Yeah, he keeps
ticking the club over. Yeah, look, a club with genuine, honest-to-God ambitions does not replace Pellegrini with David Moyes. It's as simple as that.
No.
He was cheap, he was available, and they went back to him. I think they felt they got burned a bit on the Pellegrini money, because they paid him a lot of money, invested in the squad, and I think they chickened out really. That's the time where you push on and you double down and you say, no, we're going to go again. We're going to reload. We're going to get another manager in that we believe is a top manager who can really push us on. And they didn't. They did the opposite, and that lack of ambition naturally filters all the way down to the players.
Oh yeah.
I think the players feel the same. If the team finishes, bottom half, but maybe 13th or 14th, I don't think the players will lose any sleep over it. Frankly, I think they'll be fine. You know, what David Moyes feels about that, I don't know, but I suspect he'll be much the same. If we survive this season, he'll be expecting the pats on the back. Look how well I did. We're not a championship team. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Somebody hold me up before I faint.
Yeah. What was I? There was something else with it too. I think with it too, it really shows a lot that a newly promoted side, we really offered one mistake. That entire, and granted, it was the most crucial mistake of the game, but they capitalized. They had a slip at the very end of the game where Lanzini just fires it right at the goalkeeper. Anderson had a wide open shot and pushes it wide. How are we not like? They should be like, we should be playing at that level or above, and they're the one making or capitalizing on mistakes, and we're just letting it go.
Yeah, I mean, they looked like a group of players who knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
Their interplay was good, their position-wise, the overlapping, the passing, was all there. Second half, first half, I think they'll feel as well that they were poor, but second half it was all there. You can see why, even though they don't have any real superstars or top players, you can see why they're in the top out. I mean, that win took them to 5th.
Yes,
for now anyway.
Yeah.
This is before any more games are played, of course, but
you
can see why they're up there. They're extremely well organized.
They're well
organized. They work their socks off. Yeah, they all know what they're doing. They all know what their jobs are. There's no prima donnas in there.
It looks like they fight for each other. They
do.
It almost is for me is a little bit reminiscent of the Leicester team that won the league, and it just looks like we don't give two shits out there.
The Leicester one's a good comparison, minus the quality. You know, they don't have a Kante or a Mahrez or a Vardy, but they have that same. They have that same, togetherness.
That same.
They have that team spirit. They fight for each other, like you said. So fair play to them. Chris Wilder's done a wonderful job. With the group of players that he's got. See, that's what really good managers do. They get the maximum out of what they've got. And we seem to keep hiring managers that just cannot do it. In fact, not only do they not get the maximum out of our players, but they don't even get them to a kind of an acceptable level of performance. We're always underperforming. And it's at some point this has got to change. And like I said, it comes from the top, and I don't think it will change until there's a change at the top. Until we've got owners in who actually are really ambitious and will set a standard that has to be attained.
Yeah. And that was another thing I saw afterwards too. I didn't know this. Their manager actually just inked a new contract this morning.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, he's earned it.
He's being rewarded for actually doing a good job. And we're just constantly we're the revolving door of managers. Come in for a season and a half, and on your way.
Yeah.
And
I think I think at some point you have to start saying, okay, this is a structural thing now.
Oh, it is.
This, you can't just keep saying manager was no good, manager was no good, manager was no good. How many do you have to go through
till you realize
before you say,
like, the board or the players? And I think it's a combination of both. I think until we get a board in that can actually put it, like, get the top name people we need, I think that we are doomed to repeat.
We are.
And I've seen reports that we only have about £25 million to play with this month.
Yeah.
That squad right now looks like it needs 250.
Oh yeah, there's no question. I mean, it needs a refit, but we don't. That would be difficult. I mean, that would require Sullivan doing something he's really loath to do, and that's really dip deeply into those pockets. I don't think he has any intention of doing that.
No.
I think our policy will be the same as it's always been. We'll get some loans in. We'll see who's the freebie in the summer, and we'll spend some money on the odd player here and there. We'll spend a few quid because he has to. You know, the way he spent on Haller, he spent on Anderson, spent some money on Fornell, spent some on Diop. We need to do that in every position. We can't have positions where we've cheapskated it. Like our fullback positions, we've got to spend money on fullbacks. It's as simple as that, and we've got to spend 20+ million on each one.
Yeah,
we've got to spend in every position.
I don't think not Fornells. I don't think Fredericks is good enough on his own, let alone Zabaleta. I would have stuck a academy kid in there.
Yeah, I don't think any of our fullbacks are up to be completely honest. I think they're all bang average.
I didn't think Cresswell had too bad of a game. I don't.
No, Cresswell. Like I said, Cresswell's an okay player. Like, he'll go in, he'll do a job. He's okay. But I think we need, if we're going to have any ambition at all, like our owners claim they have, we have to be doing more than that. We have to be. We can't just have okay players in a few positions and then a couple of kind of players that were big spends and think that's going to carry us to Champions League or Europa League even. It's just not.
Yeah, it's
and you could see tonight, I mean, it's just blaringly obvious, I thought, Noble was really poor tonight, I have to say. And I'm not a Noble basher. I know there's kind of almost seen as being two camps among West Ham fans, those who are all about Noble and love him no matter what, and others who think he's finished and, think he's overrated and all that. I'm not in either camp. I like Noble. He's a club legend and he can play very well. He played very well against Bournemouth. But tonight, I just thought he was really poor. I don't know how he survived the whole game, any more than don't know how Lanzini survived for so long. Noble should have been whipped off probably on the hour mark, 65 minutes tops. I'd have brought, Snodgrass and Fornells on.
I guess with the substitutions, the whole Fabianski injury kind of throw a wrench in the whole system. But yes, they should have been taken off.
But the writing was on the wall, in that second half. We were goal down. They were all over us at one point, and we were hanging on. The writing was on the wall, and that's the point where you say, right, I've got 2 subs left. I use them now. I bring on Snodgrass for Noble, and I bring on Fornells for Lanzini, and try and turn things around. Because Fornell's form has been fantastic, and he might come on and get an assist again. He might bang in another goal. Like I say, Snodgrass's deliveries from dead balls are absolutely fantastic.
Those were on point.
They were.
Couldn't have placed them any more perfect. Allaire, though, offsides, fouled, and just couldn't connect.
Yeah, there was one great ball that Snoddy put in, and he put his header straight down into the ground, and it bounced over the bar, and it was, that was a free header. He should have done much better with that. That was a real missed opportunity. So, we could have stolen a point. I mean, it would have been harsh on Sheffield United. They deserved the 3 points. They were the better team.
1,000.
Yeah, but look, in our position, you take what you can get, and there was a chance there, to score a goal or two and get something out of that. And unfortunately, finishing was just very poor. I mean, Lanzini, after that slip, I know you mentioned it, when he was through, there was a pull back to Haller there, and he tried to shoot from an impossible kind of angle and straight at the keeper. And I mean,
he could have easily
low percentage.
Allaire had a sitter.
Yeah, he had a layer coming towards him. He just needed to lay it off to Haller, but he took on a very low percentage shot.
I think he was trying to do it a little bit more selfishly. Like, he's like, okay, I need a goal now. Like, I haven't had one this year. I think that was, I don't obviously know, but that's what it appeared like to me.
Yeah.
But I think overall, Allaire's performance did not warrant or was not indicative of a 45 million pound player.
No.
And then go ahead.
If you got a 20 million bid for Lanzini now, I mean, you probably just wouldn't take it.
Oh, you have to take that. If I said in I think it was or Discord, I would take £5 for him right now.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah. I think part of the reason he got in there tonight, I was just thinking about, because it was an unusual decision to start him ahead of Fornals, but he did actually play very well for Moyes in Moyes' first stint in
yeah,
charge of the club. He played really well towards the end of that season, and I think he was still kind of clinging on to that. Moyes, I think Moyes just likes him and rates
yeah,
him as a player. Um, so I suspect that's why he got in there. But he can't start the next game. He just can't. I mean, Fornals has to come back in.
yeah.
If Moyes, has any brain at all, and look, the priority now isn't about what players you like or don't like. We've got to survive this season,
And it
and depending on results, for the results the rest of this weekend could see us back in the relegation zone
yeah,
if they don't go our way. And so there's no time for sentimentality now.
yeah.
We're in a dogfight for our lives here, and Moyes has got to be pragmatic about that. He's got to be ruthless. To
And
play the players that are going to get the job done, not players that he likes or would ideally want to play. He's got to play the players that can get us the points.
and this goes back to that ambition from the top too. We have been saying, oh, we can potentially break into the top 6 for the last 4 or 5 seasons now, it seems like. But every year it turns into a relegation battle. And it's just, I can't put my mind on other than ambition as to why that is.
I think I don't think the owners really care that much.
No.
I think they're happy as long as we're in the Premier League, as long as they can cruise along, get their TV money. They'll spend as much as they kind of need to kind of stave off any peasant revolts. But I mean, if you look at it, you can say, yeah, they'll say, look, we broke our transfer record twice, with Anderson and then with Haller. But if you look at the net spend, they haven't actually spent all that much, really.
Not at all.
I mean, they cleared an awful lot of players out in the summer, got money for almost all of them, shaved a huge chunk off the wage bill. That summer of spending under Pellegrini, the 100 million spent summer and the summer just gone, didn't actually cost them all that much money. They didn't actually outlay all that much when you look at what came in. So I think they're happy to just cruise along like that, as long as we're in the Premier League. I think they'd be hoping we'd finish around mid-table. They probably feel that if they can finish mid-table, that we won't really kick up much of a fuss. That West Ham fans are probably just going to be relatively happy.
They'll be good little boys and girls kind of thing.
With a 10th or 9th place finish if we can get it. And they're probably right, frankly. There's a sad thing. They're probably right. I mean, if we finish, let's say we do well enough second half of this season, finish 10th-ish, probably not going to be any great uproar about that, is there?
It doesn't seem like it. I think a lot of it will depend on how we kick on in the FA Cup. If we take it seriously, if we try and make a run. If we go out against West Brom and we finish 10th, yeah, I think that there will be a good bit of an uproar in the summer. If we finish 10th and we push on pretty well and get pretty far, then probably not as likely. But I wanted to go back real quickly to what you were saying. What you had talked about earlier about Noble playing well against Bournemouth. Does this performance show that we were that good, or Bournemouth are just that shit?
Probably a little bit of both. I think to be fair, I don't want to take anything away from the players in that game. I do think they played very well. You could see the difference. I think it was that new manager kick, right? So Moyes' first game in charge, there were probably a lot of players in there very relieved that Pellegrini was gone. Probably a lot of players that wanted him gone.
Yeah,
had no belief in what he was doing. Didn't like the training much. Didn't understand what he was trying to do. So when Moyes came in, I think they did have that bounce where they put their heads down then and they put in a huge effort on the pitch in that game. But it has to be said, Bournemouth were absolutely terrible. They're riddled with injuries. They've been in terrible form. Actually, their record was pretty much the same as ours. They were on a horrible run that was just as bad as ours. They were. I think they were the worst team we've played this season. I can't think of a team we played that were worse than Bournemouth were in that game. I think they were lambs to the slaughter, really. I think they were there for the taking. You have to be if we're going to beat you 4-0. You know what I mean? You have to be really fucking bad for West Ham to beat you 4-0. So, and that's why, like, before this game, I know a lot of fans maybe were on Twitter. They were feeling a bit more upbeat about Moyes because we'd beaten Bournemouth, put 4 past them, looked good in that game, and then obviously won in the FA Cup at Gillingham. But I was keeping my powder dry because, there was an asterisk over both of those games, I felt. I didn't think they were the tests. Like I said, Bournemouth were absolutely atrocious, riddled with injury. And then we put out a very strong team against Gillingham, who are a League One team. Fucking should be beating a League One team.
Yeah, we should have.
I felt that tonight was the first real test.
I agree with you,
and I don't think we came out of that looking too good. So that's why I kept my powder dry. I felt like tonight would be a much better game to kind of judge Moyes and see where we're at right now, and it doesn't look promising.
No, not at all. So then with that, where do we go from here?
Well, first of all, we've got to make sure that we're covered between the sticks. Fabianski, I think, is going to be out, obviously, now for another while. David Martin is an okay deputy, but as we saw tonight, he has the odd mistake in him as well.
And I really don't think Randolph's the answer.
Randolph is not the answer. I mean, he's injured. We've got to find a keeper because we're going to need a keeper badly. Hopefully, the Gedson Fernandez deal gets across the line as a midfielder. And we clearly need a fucking striker because Ajeti isn't cutting it, and Moyes wasn't even on the bench tonight. We didn't have a striker on the bench, so I think in this window, if we can get an actual proper deputising goalkeeper, who I think who can go in now as number one, we're not looking for a backup for fucking David Martin. Because we should be looking for a number one keeper who can go in between the sticks right now.
Yeah.
And be our number one until Fabianski comes back, or even beyond, that can challenge Fabianski actually for that jersey.
Fabianski is 34 years old. He's not getting any younger. And what I'm honestly afraid of is the initial injury kept him out almost 3 months. If there's something similar to that, he's done for the season almost, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, and I have to say, I know Tim is in the chat there. Tim absolutely called this. I have to give him credit. He called it. He said, once you get an injury like this, it will reoccur. You'll keep getting injuries, and then you're going to be no good to the team. And
that's what
unfortunately, unfortunately, it looks like Tim might have been absolutely right on the button with that one.
I'm almost inclined to go to what I saw some people talking about on Twitter too. Having our defenders pump the ball. Don't risk the goalkeeper anymore because we've now had technically 3 goalkeepers injured on just a routine goal kick.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah, it's a strange one, right? They're both of David Martin and Fabianski got the same injury from kickouts. It's weird. I mean, obviously David Martin has come through tonight, but there's always that risk as well. Like Tim was saying, if it happens to Fabianski, it can happen to David Martin. He can have a recurrence of that injury too.
And then if Randolph comes in and he's still injured, we got to go back to Roberto.
It's just
19 or 20, I believe, or we're called Trump.
And that really would just be farcical. We've got to get a proper keeper in right now. We've got to get this Gedson Fernandez deal over the line, and we've got to get a striker in. That's just for January. Now, in the summer, like I said earlier, we've got to invest in 2 proper quality fullbacks.
Yes.
The fullbacks in the modern game are just far too important to not have quality fullbacks.
And the two most neglected areas for us over the last few years, midfield and fullback, the two of the most obviously most important positions, and they just keep getting neglected. For me, I agree with you. I think we need a striker. I think besides the Fernandez, I would love to get like that. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but that midfielder from Genk. Bringing two midfielders who are younger, who are hungrier and have the pace. Bring in a right back. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a left back this window, unfortunately. And what's that?
Yeah, I doubt we'll see any fullbacks coming in this window. If we do get fullbacks, I think it will be the summer. Yeah, I agree with Jim Stebbins there. Fernandez well, he wants to get 2 fullbacks in this window. I think central midfield and striker are more pressing for this window. But I agree absolutely. We do need fullbacks, but I think that would be a summer move rather than this transfer window.
If Moyes is given any money in the summer.
Yeah, I mean we don't even know what he'll be given in the summer. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't have any information on that. I don't know what the plans are. I don't know what he's been told he will have in the summer. And the problem is Sander Berge is the player from Genk. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah,
Sander Berge is the player you're thinking of, and I was trying to think of his name because I was going to mention Jim. He's had some real injury problems.
I didn't know that.
Knee and thigh. He's had knee problems and thigh problems. So yeah, maybe he's just perfect for West Ham, I guess.
I mean, we have been linked with since it seems like late September. AC Milan's Kessie, but I don't know if he would be the answer or not.
Frank Kessie gets banded about a lot, but I haven't seen any meat on those bones. It's been a lot of talk about it, but I've seen absolutely nothing solid.
We've been linked with him for what seems like ever, and he's just not coming around. Good. I don't know. I think.
Yeah, the problem we have now is trying to attract players. I mean, if they're looking at on the keyword West Ham, do I want to go there? Whoa, no, not really. They take one look at the Premier League table and they think, Jesus Christ, I could join a club that won't even be there next season. Yeah. So in our position, it won't be so easy. I mean, I think the best we can do maybe right now, realistically, try and get some Fernandez deal over the line.
I think that's
get a goalkeeper and get a forward in.
I think the Fernandez deal is going to be key because as soon as we get him, hopefully it'll kick on a little bit more, especially if it's just a loan I've heard both with and without a clause to buy, so I don't know. Regardless of which, just get them in. It'll be relatively low fee right now, and then you can spend a lot of whatever's left on the areas we need focusing on, like the fullbacks, hopefully another midfielder, striker, and a goalkeeper. Which you think about it, that's a player in every part of the team. So how this team was considered a potential top 6 candidate before this season. Right now, I'm really questioning how.
Yeah, it's hard to believe when you have to watch them play, isn't it? I think, on paper, you could have made a case for us when you look at the players that we have with everybody fit. I think people assumed Anderson would kick on. They assumed Fornells once he settled would be great, and he has. To be fair, he's been very good. They assumed Lanzini would come back into the side, and he'd be the old Lanzini, and they assumed Haller would score plenty of goals. I mean, he's struggled being up top on his own a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's why we need that striker, because Ajeti, for some reason, hasn't been given the time. He's only been given the garbage minutes if he is brought in at all. So obviously, there's something training. that is making like both now Pellegrini and Moyes to not want to even choose him for a squad, let alone the bench. And so I don't know who it could be. I know that we're linked with that Gabagol guy, but I haven't heard anything of that. I don't know how. Like I know he's got a good goal scoring record in Brazil, but I don't know how good he is.
That seems to. I mean, even if there's any truth that we're kind of trying to get him, it seems a long way off. I mean, I think all of our eggs are in the Fernandes basket at the moment. But as regards, ironically, talking about having a strike partner for Hilaire, ironically, we sold an ideal partner for him in Javier Hernandez in the summer. He would have been a perfect foil for Hilaire. You know, if we'd gone with two up top all season and had Hilaire and Hernandez, I think it would have been a totally different prospect.
I think that would have been a good partnership. And right now, you look at it. I believe Chicharito has only played in like 8 or 9 matches in Spain and hasn't even scored points. So it's been a bad breakup for both sides.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out well for anyone really. But
I think
we've just
done a good job in there too.
Sorry,
Lucas Perez. I think he would have done a decent job with Hilaire up top as well, and he's kicking on in Spain.
Yeah, that's it. You see, we do this a lot. We just don't use players. I think this is another problem I have with some of their recruitment. I'm not sure if we buy the players. I think we seem to buy the players that we want, but not really the players that we need. I wonder if we do any due diligence to say, yes, he's a good player. Yes, he's doing this over there. But is he a West Ham player? Will he fit our squad? Will he fit into our team? Can he play the way we set up to play? It seems to me there's very little of that going on. I think they look at the player, and if he's a good player and is doing well somewhere else, they just buy him and say, yeah, he's doing well there, he'll do well here. That's not how it works. We see that over and over again, not just with West Ham. You have to do your due diligence on the player you're buying. It has to be the right player for your club. And that's where I think Leicester get it absolutely spot on every time. They do their due diligence on every single player to say, right, where is he going to be playing? Can he play the way we need him to play to help us to win? And if they can't, they don't buy them. They don't care what their name is or how good they are playing where they are. They buy players for Leicester. Yeah. They don't care what they spend. They could spend 10 million on a player, or they could spend 40 million on a player. They don't care about the price. It's about, is this the right player in the right position that we need that will fit in seamlessly and will be able to play and flourish in the Leicester way. That's why they're so successful.
Yeah. There's literally no arguing with that. I mean, I couldn't find an argument there to even if I tried. I think what the board does is they bring in players like Anderson and Allaire simply for almost like promotional value, like for the jerseys, getting asses in the seats. I keep seeing it, and it's true over and over again. We look to the Leicesters, the Wolves, right now even Sheffield, and they're kicking on at the top of the table, and we should be that, and we could be that, but it's just not run, like nothing is run properly, and you can see it at the top.
No, I mean, I don't know if you saw there was a little while back now. There was an independent audit done of West Ham. The board were kind of forced into it to bring in independent auditors to look at everything within the club and how it was run, facilities, everything. It was absolutely scathing. And some of their harshest criticisms were about the scouting system. The scouting system at West Ham is genuinely an absolute joke. It's a joke. They didn't even have an automated system for collating all of the scouting reports and stuff like that, where they had, name of the player and all the attributes and all the scouting reports. And they had stuff written down on paper.
I didn't know that.
And there was no proper system. I mean, it was crazy stuff.
Would you be able to send me that link? Because I actually I've not seen that. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I'll send you the thing about the audit. It's you'd have to see it to believe it. I mean, the club.
Oh, I
It
believe
just
it now
confirmed
without
what.
even reading it.
Yeah, it just confirmed what we all know. Is that the club is very, very poorly run.
Yeah, it's run like a circus, as we keep saying.
And when your scouting system is that farcical, how are you going to identify the right players for your club? You know, it's how are you going to have this system in place where you're saying, right, good player, nice player, can get him for the right price, but not the right player for us. It doesn't fit our system, doesn't fit our way of playing. Not that we really have a particular system or way of playing, and that's another problem. We don't have a director of football here now. We need a
I
director of football. Like the Hussela situation was ridiculous. I mean, you don't bring in a manager and then allow him to hire his mate as the director of
yeah.
football. The manager works for the director of football,
Well then, well,
not the other way around. So there's talk now that Moyes will have a say in who comes in as director of
yeah,
football in the summer. Do they never learn? Yeah, Foshizi just said it there.
yeah.
Do
This
they
was a little.
never learn? I mean, the director of football works for the owners, right? And the manager works for the director of football. The director of football is the guy with the vision. He says, right, this is how we play. This is our system. This is how we play. This is how we do it at West Ham. And he goes out and he identifies the players that fit that exact system and that exact way of playing. That's how Leicester do it. Well, I went through Leicester a minute ago. They do everything right. We do everything wrong. So, you know, it's just a shambles. And until that changes, until the owners start sorting themselves out and getting the actual structures from top to bottom right at this club, we'll continue on this path because now Moyes will go out in the summer and he'll do it this January as well. And in the summer, and perhaps the following summer if he does well enough, and he'll bring in his players and he'll sell the players he doesn't want. And then things will go tits up and he'll get sacked. And then the next manager will come in and he'll start the whole process all over again. Players coming and going like a merry-go-round with no structure behind it, with no vision behind it, and with no plan for the future behind it. You know, like there's clubs all over the world. They have their way and style of playing, the way they do things at that club runs from the youth system. 10-year-olds, let's take Barcelona, right, as a great example. 10-year-olds at Barcelona play the same way the senior team plays. They move up to under 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s, under 20s, 23s, whatever. They play the same system, the same style all the way up. So if one of these players makes it all the way into the first team,
they're ready.
it's like that. Seamless. They've been doing it since they were 10. And now they go into the senior team and they do it for the senior team. It's the same system, same structure all the way up. They do it the Barcelona way. That's what we need to start doing.
Yeah, I mean we say this, but it's never going to happen under the current regime. And at this point, we can only hope for one of two things to occur, because, and I think the second's more likely. I hope we have to either hope that someone comes in and offers like 10 times what the club is worth, just take it over, or more than likely, with them hoping to pass, like with the current board wanting to pass the club down to their kids, hopefully their kids actually give a shit and do things proper and don't run it like their parents do. And that's the only thing we can. I think that's the only thing we can hope for at this point, is that that the sins of the father do not reflect on the sons.
Yeah, I mean, basically that seems to be the situation. I don't know what their intentions are long term. I know they talk about handing the club down and all that. I don't know if that's really their intention. Maybe they intend to sell the club on after a bit. Maybe they do intend to hand it down. I don't know. But either way, like you say, we're going to continue on as we are until those structural changes are made. And in the meantime, quite frankly, us fans are just along for the ride. Yep. I mean, there's only so much we can do. We can't. It's difficult for us to force them to make the changes. Okay, we can protest. We can try and get them to make concessions. But make no doubt about it, they've done that before. You know, after the Burnley game, there was meetings with supporters. that they had, and they made kind of promises, we'll do this and we'll do that and we'll do this and we'll do that, and then they just fucking don't do it. They do it just to placate fans. They say, yeah, we can do this and we can do that. And they always go back on them. Nothing changes in the long run. And as long as that remains the case, the West Ham you see now is the West Ham you're going to see forever.
Yeah. So looking forward now, I'm just going to read this off because I saw that, like, I just double checked on it, and it does not fill me with much hope or joy or anything. Our next 6 matches are home to Everton, away to Leicester, home in the FA Cup against West Brom and Slaven Bilic, which means our former manager is probably going to just obliterate us in the cup. Home to Liverpool, home to Brighton, away to City.
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't have much confidence looking forward.
Doesn't make for good reading. I think obviously we've got home to Everton and Brighton. There's a possibility we get something out of those. It's difficult to see us getting anything at Leicester or City or against Liverpool.
But you know, watch at the same time, we're going to be the team that absolutely just crushes Liverpool somehow, and just fill us with all this confidence again, just to crush us at the following match.
We might potentially perform. It's a frustrating thing for me. Sometimes we'll go in against, like you're saying, we'll go in against these bigger teams, and we'll put in a really good performance, but might still lose. You know, we might put in like a really, really solid performance against Liverpool, make a real game of it, and still lose. And all I can think of is, where the fuck was that in Sheffield?
And yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, 1,000%, 100,000%.
If we do it against, I'd rather we fucking got beat 4-0 by Liverpool and went up and put in a great performance in Sheffield and took the 3 points.
Yep.
Where we can get the 3 points. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
So, yeah, it seems we sometimes play up to our opposition, but fuck me, we can play down to them as well.
Yeah, I'm looking past that now, too.
Also, just before you move on from those, if we lose at home to Slaven Bilic in the Cup, I think that might put Tim over the edge. So if that happens, whoever his friends are in the US, they can actually get over to his house. Yeah. I suggest you just get over there fast and just talk him off the ledge, because he's going to lose it.
So looking past the City game as well, 15 days after the City game, we play at Liverpool.
Yeah, it's fucking. We also.
And then the run of.
Yeah.
Of that one.
Yeah, we've got Liverpool twice pretty quickly, and like this whole run-in now. Are you looking at the full fixture list?
Yes.
For the remainder of the season, like it's not. It doesn't make for good reading. I think there's a period of 3 games in a row which are kind of winnable in there somewhere. Palace is one of them, I think.
So after the second Liverpool match, we're home to Southampton, away to Arsenal, home to Wolves, away to Tottenham, home to Chelsea.
Yeah, this could get ugly. It could. I mean, we've really got to pick it up, and it just shows how vital this transfer window is. We've got to get this transfer window right, because on paper, right now, sitting here, you're thinking there's a lot of losses in that group of fixtures you just called out, unless something changes. You know, so we could be banging trouble at the end of those. After that, is there like a run of 3 games or something against bottom half teams that are more winnable or something like that in a row? 3 games in a row or something?
So following the Chelsea match is actually the final 6 matches of the season. We are away to Newcastle, home to Burnley, away to Norwich, home to Watford. We travel to Old Trafford after that, and then the final match of the season is we're home against Aston Villa. Yeah,
see, there's 4 of those last. Actually, all of them, even United. You know, I know it's at Old Trafford, isn't it? But
toss up.
But still, those last few games, we might need those. We might be very glad that we're playing kind of bottom half teams, because we might really fucking be desperate for those points. Now, there's no guarantee we'll get them because we can lose to anybody.
I definitely wish I would not have looked at the schedule because now I'm just like, oh God, press all of the panic buttons.
By the time we get to those final 6 games and running, I'll tell you what, things could be getting hairy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the picture will be kind of painting itself at that point, so we'll see where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping to God that if we are in the relegation area, we can pull ourselves out, because if we can't, we're going to sell off half of our squad, because I guarantee you the likes of Anderson, Allaire, Lanzini, maybe even Yarmo, they won't want to stick around. So
no, they won't. No, I mean, Jesus, I mean, relegation doesn't bear thinking about. I mean, like
this
relegation.
So
like if we stay up, we have a chance in the summer to kind of do a little refitting to the team, get the fullbacks in, really quality fullbacks, get the striker in, partner in for Haller that we need, get that box-to-box midfielder. We have a chance if we can survive to improve things for next season. But if we go down, I mean, that's the fucking reset button.
If we go down, I cannot legitimately see the current board staying on, because they're not going to be able to make their money. I think you're going to have massive fan protests.
Yeah.
Amongst anything, and then it's just going to be complete embarrassment. I don't think more.
Yeah.
I don't know if even. I don't know who would want to come manage us, because I don't see Moyes doing it.
Yeah, because we'll all be leafing through the 10-point plan, looking for where the fuck relegation was in there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it would be genuinely embarrassing for them if we went down. I mean, really embarrassing. It would be humiliating, because everyone would be bringing up, these were their pledges, talking about, we can get Champions League and world-class players in a world-class stadium.
Champions Leagues are all right. It's the championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole next level stuff. It would really come back to bite them then. I mean, there would be no defense left for them. There would be no excuses left. I mean, it would just be humiliation. As Jim says, they can sell, Jim, but I mean, if they sell before, I think that they can sell after 2021, but they incur quite a large cost, the kickback to the LLDC or whatever they're called now. But after 2024, they can sell the club on without incurring that cost. So they might just be waiting for 2024 and then just fucking flog the club. I don't know.
What for me, what really sucks about this season in particular was that this was if we were going to kick on and finish top 6 potentially, this was the season that we were most likely to. With Man United being as bad as they are, Arsenal being as bad as they are, Chelsea not being able to bring in transfers, and now having to hope that 3 clubs are worse than you.
Yeah, I mean, we're essentially in that situation now. That's what saved us last time Moyes was in charge. There were thankfully there were some clubs that were generally worse than us, and we may well be crossing our fingers and hoping that that's the case again. Because at the moment, given the performance tonight, it's hard to see with that list where a whole lot of points are going to come from. Jesus, I mean, we have to get up to 40, at least 40 points.
And what are we on now?
This season.
What are we at? We are on 22.
22. So we need, at least 18 points from somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, it doesn't sound like a lot, 18, when you say it quickly, but that's a lot of wins.
Oh, yeah. That's
a
lot.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even in territory here now where we can accept where we've played well in a game but not won it. We have to win games. Simple as that. Moral victories are no good to us now. They won't keep us up. We've got to start beating teams.
Yeah, I forgot we only have 5 scouts.
Yeah, it's a joke. There are teams in the Premier League that probably have 5 scouts in the north of England.
Yeah.
And we have 5 altogether. I mean, we had 7. Yeah, we had 7, and then they obviously got rid of Hugh Salos's son and Pellegrini's son. They were scouting for us. So they're gone now. So we're down to 5. It's as I
Jim, we
said
have
earlier, it's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Just structurally, just ridiculous. And I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves, really.
they
Sullivan
should, but
and
they're
Gold
making
and
their money,
Brady. I mean,
so they don't care.
yeah. I mean, Karen Brady is on this show in the UK. Probably have a version of it in America called The Apprentice. And
Yeah, it was.
she's like the second in command behind Alan Sugar, who's the main guy on the show. And she gives it the big one on there, like, oh, she's this savvy kind of businesswoman and she knows her stuff. And they should be fucking embarrassed at the way West Ham is run.
Yeah,
they'd be fired if they had a boss above them. They'd be fired.
yeah. But it goes back to it. They're making their money, so we can say that. Oh, they should be embarrassed, and they rightfully should be. But they're making that all they care about is their money, so they're not that bothered. All right, I think though we should go ahead and wrap this up because we're creeping over an hour now. We got a few things to talk about though. First, for everyone in here, tune in tonight for Friday Night Likes at 8:30. As Tim had said earlier, I'm not too sure who is on it this week, so don't ask me. As always, make sure you go to ahtv.threadless.com to get all the merch you possibly can from us. And then also for myself, I am on a podcast through American Hammers Radio, the Fortune's Always Hiding podcast with Zach and John. So feel free to check that out. On to Everton. Hopefully we can pick up something, but who knows?
Well, I'll tell you what, something ain't enough. We've got to win that game.
We have to. But
playing well and getting a point ain't going to cut it anymore. We've got to start winning games. That's it. Full stop.
We have to and quick, but again, it's West Ham United.
Thanks for Sheezy. Appreciate you being there, buddy.
Yep. Take care, guys. We'll see you after the match on Wednesday or against Everton. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit more positive. Come on, you Irons.
Yeah, just come on, you Irons.